and welcome to the Terry White Tech Blog. Today we're here to take a look at the brand new Wacom Cintiq 24HD. Now, this particular display comes in two models. We have the HD and we have the HD Touch, which is even newer. I'm taking a look at the HD today, but I am definitely drooling over the HD Touch after working on such a beautiful display. First of all, let's take a look at what the Cintiq actually is. It's a 24-inch diagonal LCD display, so it's HD quality. And what's unique about this particular display and what really gets me going is the actual stand for it. Now, the stand is actually sitting on my desk here, my work surface, and the display can not only tilt as with all previous Cintiqs, it does something that the Cintiq has never done before. It lets me actually bring the Cintiq down to a comfortable working area, almost like it's in my lap. And that's the thing I love about it. That's what separates this Cintiq from all other Cintiqs I've used in the past. So, what is the Cintiq besides a display? Well, it's actually, think of it as a 24-inch high-def display with a Wacom tablet built in that you can tilt and adjust to a comfort level of your choice, and then begin working in your favorite applications. In my case, I'm working in Photoshop. Now, besides having the ability to work right on the display, right here in Photoshop, I also have, of course, pressure sensitivity, a couple thousand levels of pressure sensitivity built into this tablet. And more importantly, I have a touch ring and 5 express keys that can be customized on each. First of all, I have 5 different ones on each side, and they can be customized per application. So you could set up different touch keys to do different things in Photoshop, different ones in Illustrator, different ones in InDesign, whatever applications you're using. So for example, I have the touch ring on this side set to allow me to zoom in on the image just by dialing in. And so that way I can get into things that I otherwise may not have seen while I was zoomed out. And I have the ring on this side set to adjust my brush size. So as I dial up, my brush gets bigger, dial down, my brush gets smaller. And if I make a mistake, for example, rather than have to reach for the keyboard, I have this touch key set to do an undo. So you can set these up to do anything you want. And of course, the problem with setting all of these touch keys and touch rings and everything is that chances are you might forget what you've set in a particular application. So just hit the I right here on the display, and that will bring up a quick menu showing you everything you've got set for the application you're working in and what you've got, even what you've got your pin set to do. So in my case, for example, the upper button on the pin is set to do an option click so that when I'm cloning, for example, if we switch over here to the clone stamp tool, I can go ahead and target an area that I want to clone with and then begin cloning with that particular area. Again, trying to reduce the amount of things that I have to go back to the keyboard to do. So the Cintiq was always a great device to work with, especially if you're doing retouching. I couldn't imagine retouching without a Wacom tablet. Matter of fact, I always tell people if you're doing it without a tablet, you're doing it the hard way. And I would even go as far as to say any Wacom tablet, even their lowest price, $50 some odd dollar tablet, is better than your most expensive mouse because you just won't get pressure sensitivity with a mouse. Your mouse is either on, off. With a tablet, you have this pin, and therefore, the harder you press down, the bigger the brush size you get. The lower you press or the less you press, the smaller the brush you get, or the less of the effect that you get. So I absolutely love the Cintiq. I have since I started with the 22-inch model way back when, but this one kind of changes the game. This changes everything because what I didn't like about the previous one is that in order for me to work comfortably, I really had to tilt it down, and therefore I kind of had to work over it. Whereas this one, or I could tilt the old one up, but then you're kind of working at an uncomfortable angle like this, kind of writing on screen. But this one allowing me to not only tilt it, but bring it down off the table without it falling off the table. It's designed to do that. And letting me work at a more comfortable, kind of like an easel type effect or angle. Makes all the difference in the world. Now, what's different about this one versus the brand new touch model that just came out? Well, if you can imagine everything I just talked about here and adding multi-touch gestures, just like on an iPad or just like on your smartphone, and be able to pinch and zoom and do multi-touch gestures, which if you're on a Mac OS are already built in, being able to do that right on screen. So it really lessens the need to have to go back to your keyboard or back to your computer. Now, speaking of which, this is not a computer. This is just the display attached to my MacBook Pro that I've got here sitting on the side. So my MacBook Pro is actually running Photoshop, and I have Photoshop running on a second display, which in this case is the Cintiq. So I can work back and forth. So for example, if I go over to the computer, we can bring up the tablet settings right here on screen and be able to adjust whatever we want. So again, we can even do this with a touch interface, or with a pen interface, I should say. So this gives me the ability to customize not only what functions I want for each individual area of the tablet, but I can even, again, customize it per application by adding whichever applications I currently have running. So if I wanted to add specific ones for Photoshop, I can just bring up Photoshop in the list. Now, whatever customizations I do for the pen, for the touch ring, for the express keys, radio menu, anything I do will be specific to Photoshop in that case. So great to have this beautiful display. It's been a long time coming. So I'm just now getting to review it, and I could not imagine going back. This, again, changes everything, and it's not so much that we didn't have the ability to do this on a Cintiq before, but it's really the comfort level and the infinite ways of adjusting this to just the way you like to work. And they just really thought this one out. So that's my quick review of the Cintiq 24HD. There are other models. There's a 22-inch. There's a touch model that's actually more expensive than this one. But the 24 for me is a perfect size. I love having all the screen real estate. And again, if my wish come true, it would be the 24 HD Touch, because that would give me the ultimate interface on my tablet and reduce the amount of trips over to the Mac, and over to the Mac's keyboard, I should say. So if you're in the market for a tablet and you've got the extra money to spend on a nice, great display as well, you might as well combine them together in a Cintiq. All right, my name's Terry White. Thanks for your time, and thanks for taking a few minutes with me to take a look at the Cintiq 24 HD by Wacom. We'll catch you next time.